Alright guys, welcome back to another video. Thank you for tuning in. Today I'm going to give you 7 top tips to make sure your internal linking strategy is performing well. I'm also going to add on 3 bonus things at the end to avoid in your internal linking strategy. So let's get started right away with tip number 1. And tip number 1 is to make sure that you map every URL. And by that I mean that every URL should be mapped to a specific keyword. Assign specific keywords to every page on your website. That will help to gain insight into what every page of your website is about. Now, tip number 2 is extremely important, and that is to create topic clusters. We all need to be organizing our content into groups that cover a broad topic. And all of those little pieces of content in one topic cluster need to link to each other and all link up to your pillar page. So on to tip number 3 now, and that is to optimize your anchor text. You need to use specific keywords or close variations as anchor text to better inform Google about the linked page's content. On to tip number 4, and this one is extremely important, and it is also my favorite one personally. I recently was working on a website and found 200 of these errors, and that is to fix your orphaned pages. An orphaned page on a website is a page that does not have any inbound link to it, which means Google cannot crawl it. So make sure that all of your content is being linked to internally. Now, going back to expand on something I mentioned in an earlier tip, and that is your pillar pages. You need to find your pillar pages. So what you need to do here is identify those pillar pages. So to identify them, you need to find those pages with high UR ratings and link from them to supporting articles to pass on the link juice, as they say, and boost the authority of those pages. On to our next tip now, and it kind of gives a little bit of kudos to the sophistication of Google crawlers, and that is to link with a purpose. You really need to ensure that you're linking with purpose to provide context and value. Don't just do spammy links so you can say you've 1,000 or 2,000 internal links on your website. Why isn't Google boosting my rankings? It actually does have to make sense to a user. If your links have purpose and actually help users, Google's crawlers are sophisticated enough to understand that. Now, the next tip, I really like it. This is actually where I start most SEO projects, is to find out where we are. So that tip is to follow Google's lead. And what I mean by that is find supporting content ideas inside your Google Search Console account by analyzing keywords that are bringing people to your pages. All of that is visible to you in Google Search Console. Now, here are 3 things that we want to avoid when we're doing our internal linking on our website. And the first one is to avoid the same anchor text. We need to be avoiding using the same anchor text for different pages. This is so that we can prevent keyword cannibalization and confusion for search engines. Another tip I really value on things to avoid here is to avoid messy navigation. Avoid messy navigational links because it creates a bad user experience. Maintain a clear and clean hierarchical structure for navigation across all of your menus and indeed your links. Now guys, the final thing to avoid is something that is very hard to avoid when you're excited and you're geared up to go and you're off you go after watching a video like this and you're going to be doing your internal linking across your websites, and that is to not overdo it. If you have an opportunity to add links that make sense, then put those in, but do not overdo it. Focus on linking to highly relevant pages and providing value, rather than adding an excessive amount of internal links that don't make sense and will actually push your rankings down. So don't overdo it. Just make sure it all makes sense to you as a human being. Google crawlers are sophisticated enough and always getting more and more sophisticated to know what good looks like. Consider subscribing.